It's the RIOT Podcast. This is the Thursday, March 16th edition. Another fundraiser version of the podcast. We're a little bit abbreviated, but still just as good.
It's a skinny podcast.
That's
it's a
right.
light one.
Slim down.
So make sure you check out RadioU.com if you could. And if you're a podcast listener who'd like to support the RIOT on RadioU, you can donate there during our spring fundraiser and include in the comment section that you're a podcast listener because we love to see that.
So today, during the podcast, we talked about a man who has a wild animal that won't leave its side.
He's made a friend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's made quite a friend possibly for life. I don't know how long. It's a crane, as in like the bird.
Yeah.
Like the tall bird, kind of like a flamingo size.
Kind of like a crane.
Yeah, similar to a crane.
How long do those live?
You might have to Google that. That's a
I'll
good
Google
question. Birds, I think, don't they live for a pretty
They
good
do.
amount of time?
I mean, I know parrots are like one of the, as long as you don't make it fly away, that's one of the birds that can live the longest.
Which is why
Listen
you
to
never
this.
you
This is
never want to
crazy.
accept one because they'll be with you forever.
It says they can last up from 20 to 30 years in the
Aw.
wild, but up to 80 years in captivity.
What?
Oh my gosh.
You're kidding me.
I swear.
Which means they probably die from like natural things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that bird had gotten injured.
Uh-huh.
So this guy
It's going to live 80 years.
This guy changed the course of his this bird's history.
No wonder the bird's following him everywhere.
Now, if you had to have an animal that you nursed
That's what I was gonna say.
and say what would you want? What would you want to then have to take care
to
of
follow
forever?
you around?
Yeah.
But it's like your friend, so it wouldn't hurt you.
It's on your side.
Wouldn't kill you.
Kangaroo.
Kangaroo?
A kangaroo's a
Yeah.
good one.
That's a
Can you
weird
imagine
one.
having a kangaroo backing you up if you got into a scuffle?
But wouldn't it be weird he just stands there next to you?
Would it be weird or would it be awesome?
Because he's just standing on his,
He's
legs.
lurking behind you.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Tall and intimidating.
Like Kangaroo Jack.
I think
right.
I want something little. I think I want like a mouse.
Oh,
A mouse.
Like on my shoulder.
Uh-huh.
That kind of just hangs out at all times.
yeah, like the guy in the Green Mile.
Okay, not totally, but sure, yeah.
Maybe something like that. I was thinking
A little
I was
lighter
thinking
than
more
that.
like Stuart Little is what I was
Okay,
kind of
sure.
imagining.
Uh-huh.
But
Except he can talk.
yeah, I wish he could talk. But if I had
Two very
and the
different
mouse too, I think it makes sense because I don't have a very big house.
Yeah.
And so I assume that this animal is probably gonna have to live with me. And so I have plenty of room in the house. And if I have to feed him, I can feed him like a carrot.
Oh, you could have a little pocket mouse.
Mm-hmm. He could just be in my
Aw.
pockets. It'd be cute, and it would the best part was if it like followed me around. If I was like walking around, it was just scurrying behind me.
Now-
Then it would be my little mouse.
It's a good choice, but from the outsider, like looking in, they would think that you're like unclean. And
I
there's
thought
a
you were gonna
mouse
say that I'm
around,
dirty.
And they're just like going to stomp on him.
I was
one
just
day.
thinking the same
Yeah.
thing. If I have a
So-
rat
Was it
chasing me
Stuart Little's family kind of looked down upon.
for having the mouse,
Yeah.
I don't
That's
remember.
kind of how I remember it. That's
I
usually
remember
how
him
it
not
is.
being very cool. I knew
Yeah.
that.
Which is why we want one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
We-
Nikki's would clearly be a bear.
It is. I was trying to
Yeah.
think if there was something else. I mean, I like seals and penguins,
Oh.
but a penguin, like, they're gross.
they smell bad.
They smell
That's
terrible.
right. And I'd feel bad having a seal follow me around because
Yeah.
they'd have to
They're
crawl
just-
on the ground all the time.
Just a lot
I saw
of
when I went to
noise.
Seattle, I saw seals.
You did?
Another thing on my whale watching trip that I got to see.
Oh.
They were all right.
What do you guys like better, seals, sea lions, or walruses?
I'm never with. I don't know the difference.
Well, the walruses are
have the big tusks.
The tusks. You know, they're really, really, really big.
Seals have the two flippers at the front, and,
And
then,
I always
like,
call them seal
tail.
puppies. So
And then,
Got it.
and then sea lions have like kind of more like they have back leg.
Aren't they kinda
fin
scary?
things. Sea
They
lions?
can be.
Yeah.
They can be
pretty
dangerous.
violent, but they're also the ones that do like the tricks.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they do like the shows.
Maybe
So
I'm
they're
with
pretty smart.
seals. I'm gonna lean seals for now.
I think so. I'm not going with walruses.
Why
I mean,
not?
No.
Hello. You're
Walruses
like,
are
well,
awesome.
Nikki was pierced by a tusk.
Yeah.
I just trying to think of how would I want to go, and I don't want to go that way.
Hmm.
So I
They
don't
look
know.
funny, but not my style. The walrus.
I think they're pretty cool.
they look
And
cool.
What are you
Yeah.
supposed to do? Like put it in the car? I mean, you have to
I
think about
know.
portability, and it have to have its own room.
If you go to an event, you know,
Like, can you watch my walrus this weekend for
Exactly.
me?
Oh, he can take care of himself.
just leave him at the house.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
No, he gets his tusk stuck in the wall,
Yeah.
and he's there, and he hasn't been able to move. So I don't know.
Wouldn't that be crazy if that's the researchers they're finding? Like they study walruses. They're like, they always die by getting stuck somewhere at their big tusks.
It could be.
They get like stuck in a rock.
Stuck in a rock, stuck in a tree.
Mm-hmm.
We also talked about TikTok. They're trying to get rid of it again.
The ban.
Again, yeah. One day it's going to happen.
You think so? You think they can do it?
I think so, yeah.
No, I just think this is how they make noise. So they're making noise to try to get something to happen. And it's probably not completely getting rid of all of its Chinese ownership, but enough of it to where they want some U.S. companies to have stake in it too.
Makes sense.
So they can spy on us too.
So, yeah.
So if you had to get rid of one social media, which one are you picking right now?
The
What do you
Walrus
mean?
app. No.
Like you've got TikTok, you've got like
Delete
Twitter. You have to delete one, right?
Twitter.
You're doing Twitter?
Twitter would go. I don't even use Snapchat anymore, so I have it downloaded still, but I would get rid of that too.
Snapchat would be another one?
I only have Twitter and TikTok that it wouldn't feel fair for me to say Facebook because I don't actually use it, even though I have one. So
Twitter.
I guess TikTok because I never go on there unless I'm posting something. And it's surprisingly easy to not post things.
But you have much more clout on TikTok than you do on Twitter.
That is true. You are like the clout king on TikTok.
I have more Twitter followers.
Do you?
No one's active.
Yeah.
It's
True.
fine.
I think I would pick, if I had to pick between them, I'm for sure keeping Instagram. That's my number one. Next would probably be Twitter. Mm-hmm. And then I would probably cut TikTok.
Yeah.
I like TikTok. And it's a good way for me to waste time at work. But if I'm not wasting time at work, then I don't need to use it.
Also the one that's going to bring our country to its knees. So we need to, we got to delete it, Isaiah.
But if I had to pick one, I'd probably choose LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah. That's a perfect choice. And we will remind you, they're all spying us. It's just we want our own to spy on for our own
I
countries.
know.
Yes,
They're
exactly.
going about it all the wrong way, the government. They should just create their own propaganda app that they can put into China.
That's it.
That's what we got to do.
Well, enjoy the podcast today. Again, it's just a bit shorter, a little bit different while we go through our spring fundraiser.
But the
So
intro just as long.
help out at RadioU.com. It makes us feel like it's a normal day.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
See you guys.
Hey, they're already eating anyways. Might as well do it on the show. The Riot with Nikki and Hudson. Radio U.
Picture yourself nursing a giant crane,
Back to health.
the bird back to health. Yeah. And then picture it following you everywhere you go from that moment on.
Oh, I know this guy's story.
You've seen this?
Of course.
Did
If it's an animal thing on TikTok, then it's going to share it with me.
All right. Did it make you cry?
No, not as much as other. Maybe because it's a crane.
You don't have an emotional attachment to the crane?
If this was like a doggy, like a little puppy, I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it's a crazy story out of India where they say that the guy who actually wound up nursing this crane back to health, his name is Mohammed Arif. They say he's like a local celebrity now. Obviously, he would be very well known. You'd know him as the crane guy if you lived around there because he did nurse. They call it a Saris crane. He found it on his farm where it was bleeding profusely from its leg.
Oh, it was in a lot of pain, he said.
So he went ahead and he said, without thinking twice, I picked it up and brought it home and went ahead and healed it all up, which is pretty impressive that he even knew what to do to heal a bird like that. So he did. And once the bird was healthy enough, he's like, okay, you can go. He just, I don't know what you just said.
You can go now. Shush.
Yeah.
Shoo.
Shoo it away. And so he set the bird free, but the bird didn't want to go free. It wanted to stay with Mohammed. And so that's what it's done. And not only does it like live on his farm still and play with him and hang out with him and whatever, but if he does a lot of traveling around the area and whatever. And so he'll hop on his motorcycle and the bird will follow along. The bird will fly behind him and go everywhere he goes.
He's got a little crane.
He's got a buddy.
Child,
He's got a buddy. Yeah, that's right. You think that would ever get annoying?
Well, I mean, if it never left or like if it was, they said that the bird likes to even cuddle. So it is pretty aggressive in its
very
affection
attached.
towards you.
Well, we've all been there,
but it's
haven't
cute.
we? Yeah, it is cute. And I mean, it feels like it's a big bird. Like it's the size almost as tall as he is. So it's pretty large. So I think if you had that around, like that could be a little intimidating to other people. Mm-hmm. So maybe, you can act a little tougher because you got a bird back in
You got
your
a
lap.
crane. But, realize this. If you were injured, someone helped you, and they give you food,
Yeah.
you're not going anywhere.
You're not.
You are sticking around.
You're staying with them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're following them everywhere.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Because
but
they're going to bring you food back.
For a moment, but if this was a person, it would get a lot more annoying, I think, than if it was a bird.
Yeah, but you could try it. See how long you can go. See how long they let you stay around.
Well, it is a sweet story. It is, and I think the bird is kind of cute. Didn't make me cry though.
No, it's not that type.
No, but it's a very sweet relationship that they have. Well, make sure that your relationship with RadioU, you keep giving us food, so we'll stick around and follow you everywhere.
Hudson and Isaiah seem like they know a lot about sports, yet somehow it's Nikki that always gets it right. The Riot, Radio U.
We got to talk about it. Yesterday, news finally came out from the horse himself, the horse's mouth itself. Aaron Rodgers. I
was like, is that his nickname?
No,
I was wondering what's happening there.
Straight from the horse's mouth. Because there's so much,
sure.
Rumors had swirled and false reports and possibly true reports. But finally, Aaron Rodgers himself has confirmed that he is planning on joining the New York Jets, leaving the Green Bay Packers. Although some of his comments from yesterday on the Pat McAfee show alluded to the fact that the Packers basically trying to kick him out, which is a lot of reporting has said that along the way as well.
Did it make it seem like he would have then stayed if they would have been nicer, or?
I think that's tough to say.
Too hard to say.
No, I want you guys to speculate.
Yeah.
Come
Oh,
on.
I'll speculate. I don't think he would have stayed.
You don't think he would have stayed?
I don't think he would have, but he could have. I don't think he would have.
I hope he would have stayed, but him being forced out now gives me somebody to be mad at.
Was he always with the Packers, or was Aaron Rodgers
Always with the Packers.
Oh, that's even harder.
Yeah, that's right. So, what are your guys' reactions?
Why would you go to the Jets, though? I'd want to go someplace warmer.
You think,
Yeah.
right? You've been in Green Bay for so long, and then you're going to go to New York. But I
you're
guess
used
New
to
York's
it.
cool, though. It's a cool place to go.
Uh-huh. It's a cool city. So
Cool city.
So that's your reaction? You just think New York, not a good city?
He's like, I would have picked Miami, but
Yeah.
it's all right.
I would have been like, is there an NFL team in the Bahamas, like a different league or something? But no, I just think that's sad if you play for one place and then you're switching over.
Yeah.
And it's hard to.
And then they do you dirty like this.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers is such a player. Now you're going to go into a new environment, so he might not have as great of
Oh, he'll thrive.
a season, or
We'll
it's all on
see.
his shoulders.
Yeah, but
I think so too. I think that there's like pros and cons to him going to New York. I think that this might work out for the Packers, though.
You think so?
I think this is a good move because as of late, there's been some big stars who have gotten traded, and it's always worked in their favor because I think that they could get a good haul from this, like some good picks, maybe a player or so. I don't know exactly what the compensation is going to be, but now
that's
that
still up in the air.
Yeah, now that the Jets, because one of the things that Rodgers asked for was one of his wide receivers to go to the Jets as well. And so they went ahead. The Jets already signed him.
Yep.
So the Jets are like, they're all in. So if I'm the Packers, I'm immediately like, oh, you want him? How bad do you want him?
What's it gonna cost ya?
You already have his buddy here, so like you can't and if you're the Jets too, you can't blow this. Like especially because Aaron said, I want to go to New York. If they don't end up getting Aaron Rodgers, Jets fans will literally lose their minds for like ever about this. This will be something that goes on forever. So if you're the Packers, I'm like, you know what? You need to just offer it up to me.
Yeah.
Get down here and start praying and just to go ahead and offer me whatever you've got.
It's a crazy scenario for the trade because although the details haven't been announced, like it's got to happen. Aaron Rodgers, but it's like in a way neither team has any leverage because like no other team will trade for Aaron Rodgers at this point. He said he wants to go to the Jets. And a lot of the other teams that he might have gone to have now chosen worse quarterbacks. So he's got nowhere else to go. But the Packers have already kicked him out of town. They don't want him back for some reason. So neither team has, like, you can't just negotiate. You just got to come to an agreement.
I feel bad. This is like when your parents divorce and, you got to, like, are you going to stick with the pack? Who you staying with, your mom or your dad? Where are you going?
Yeah, exactly. Which household?
It's like when your parents divorce and your mom really sucks. So you're going to.
So they're mean.
Yeah. And dad was still doing great. He had one bad year and all of a sudden.
You're breaking up.
And maybe he has a little bit of an attitude problem sometimes. but he's also the best dad in the world. And so you'll follow him anywhere. And maybe one day he'll come back to mom if she apologizes and learns her lesson.
Okay.
Mom is the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, I kind of got that feeling.
Yeah.
All right.
So
well,
that's how I feel.
I guess we'll have to find out more about the specifics of the trade, but something will happen.
Yeah, I think, you know what, though? I think Aaron Rodgers, he's got the Jets, they're all in, and that's something I wish the Packers would have done.
Last quick
at some
question.
Point. Yeah.
Are you going to wear anything else Packers again, or are you done with it?
Oh,
Oh, wow.
that
feels
I
like
still
a no.
got, I still got Packers stuff, and so I'm still going to cheer for them. I just think they're in for a tough season. They're in for a tough one.
It's Jordan Love season. If they draft him in the first round, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
You
all the
mean
great
the new
quarterbacks.
mom?
Yeah, the new mom. The new mom.
All the great quarterbacks sit for 4 years.
Yeah.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the Riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
And Nikki,
Yeah.
Isaiah,
Yes.
stop me if this sounds familiar.
You're not supposed
Ready?
to say yeah, you go boom or whatever.
Boom.
Yeah,
What
boom.
you're saying,
Bang.
there it is.
No, he's a boom.
He's a boom
I'm a
guy.
boom, but I can
Boom.
also be bang.
It could be bang. Okay. Stop me if this sounds familiar. The United States is threatening TikTok, threatening to ban TikTok again.
Again?
Again. Does
You're
that sound
right.
familiar?
That happens.
This time it is the Biden administration. Different president than it was the last time this happened, but still same threat that either the company that owns TikTok, ByteDance, either they sell it or it's going to get banned.
So this is different than a few weeks ago when we were talking how the federal government is no longer allowing TikTok to be on a federal issued like phone.
Yeah.
So if you work for the government and they're so kind enough to give you a phone, you are not allowed to have it on there. And they say that is a security measure. This is different than that. This means that the United States wants ByteDance to sell TikTok or have they need to diversify their owners to be able to have other people involved in the company. And then if not, it could get banned.
Can you believe how bad this must be? I don't think we really understand.
How much spying there must be on it?
I don't think we
I know.
understand
I
when
know.
two different presidents from different political parties, years apart, are both saying the same thing. We've got to get this company off of our phones or out of China, one of the two. We've got to do something. It must be much, much worse than we realize what TikTok is doing.
So they want to force them to sell the Chinese owners like the stakes that they have in the company. And if not, then you get a ban.
It's just wild because, like, when I go on TikTok, it's just the most innocent app, I'm just scrolling
That's
through
always
there.
how it is.
It's so innocent. I see these dog videos and my sports stuff, and then all of a sudden, they have my social security number.
Have you ever seen, though, like Chinese TikTok side? Have you ever seen that?
I've never been on Chinese TikTok, no.
Okay, it's actually a little bit different than the style and how, like, our version is one way, and theirs, I mean, it is pretty close, but it's a lot more propaganda in it than you
is
would
it?
think than we get on our side.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess they can make you see anything and then just be like, it was the algorithm. It was the algorithm.
Well,
so,
no, like we don't get it on this end.
So are you guys?
That's for those that are in China. Like it's got different levels to it.
Are you ready to just go ahead and delete TikTok now? Because again, if they're threatening this, that must mean it's pretty bad. Shouldn't we just delete it?
No, the ban just
get
means
ahead of
they can't have it in the download store, so you just never delete it.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
but-
like Flappy Bird.
Doesn't it?
You keep it on the
That's
phone,
right.
it's good.
I kept Flappy Bird for a long time.
I
That's
know, right?
accurate. But doesn't it worry you, though? Like, don't you think we should just get rid of it? Don't you think it's the right thing to do?
For me personally, I just am not nervous about it because I just mean so little, Like, what information would they really want from
But
me?
I don't think it's just about you individually. I don't think they're going to, like, put out a hit on you if you delete it.
Oh, they definitely won't.
Yeah. They're not going to, like, steal your credit card info. But are they slowly and surely, like Nikki said with the propaganda, like, poisoning our minds?
They
and
won't
one
get
day
me.
we're going to serve the Chinese Communist Party or something like that.
They'll never get to me.
One day.
Too strong.
Too
Slowly
strong,
and
is
surely.
that it?
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
too strong or too
We're
dumb.
too,
Yeah.
we're too ignorant. Hudson and I just compete every day trying to convince each other of things. There's no way the Chinese government can convince me of anything. Hudson tries every single day.
And I'm much smarter than they
Yeah,
are.
exactly,
Much
exactly.
more manipulative.
And it's just been a part of our lives for so many years that it would just be really weird. And I have that horrible disorder where if someone tells me what to do, I don't want to do it anymore. Like if you tell me to delete it,
True.
I suddenly really want to watch it even more.
I know, and that's really crazy because say what you want about the government, they don't really ban that many things, especially something that so many people have and do.
Oh, yeah.
So it's gotta suck. It's just gotta suck. That said, I gotta go post about Aaron Rodgers on TikTok.
Okay,
so
you know what? Let's not
I'll check
disturb
in with you
ya.
guys later.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
the only
we'll-
place I can do that.
Of course, we'll head back over to RadioU official on TikTok.
Uh-huh.
There's nothing bad
No
going on
propaganda
there.
there.
While we still can.
It's probably why it doesn't get so many views.
Your For You page would be a lot more fun if it had Hudson, Nikki, and Isaiah. Follow at RadioU Official on TikTok. The Riot. Radio U.
Let's talk about dating. I always love busting out the dating deal breakers because, as you know, you just get more and more surveys, more and more people saying what a deal breaker is until you find that there's a deal breaker with everybody.
Sure.
You know?
Meaning like a deal breaker, you won't date the person.
If you laid out the list of dating deal breakers, nobody would be dateable.
So these aren't even flags. These are just completely
Deal breakers.
Just deal breakers.
All right.
Like game over.
So would you like to know this dating deal breaker is in regards to how much money you make? Would you like to know the average salary that is considered basically the deal breaking limit?
Oh, like if it's too low for someone?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. How low is it?
How low do you think it is?
I don't know. It's open to interpretation.
It is basically, I'll round it. It's basically $30,000.
That you wouldn't date someone who made less than $30,000 a year?
Well, it would be tough, right? Especially if you're like a grown up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like if you're grown, how could you even live in most places on less than $30,000 a year?
Well, if you're still at home or
It'd
not.
be real tough.
Yeah, it'd be real tough.
I mean, we did talk about how your parents are paying the bills earlier today, so they probably have to be covering something if you're only making $30,000
Now,
a year.
I see what the other issue is. I think that's more of a deal breaker.
What, the loans?
Yeah, like if you're going in with way more debt than the other person,
Yeah.
I think that's a hard one to overcome.
Yeah, it looks like the top deal breaker, not just about salary, but the number one deal breaker when it comes to money is if somebody has a personal loan is the most likely thing to be a dating deal breaker for a person you might be going out with.
Yeah, that's a no.
Yeah, personal loan. What does that mean?
What do you mean? It's a no.
Like a loan, you know, like it's like when you ask
Like
for money.
Yeah, but no,
And you
but
gotta
like a
pay it back.
personal loan.
Thank you, Isaiah.
I thought I'd break that down for the audience.
What is the?
That's what I signed up for.
Tell me more about this personal loan. You can just ask people for money and they'll give it to you.
They'll
That's
just give it to you.
amazing.
Yeah.
They will just give it to you. It's this crazy thing. Even if you don't deserve it, they'll still give it to you.
Wow, that was number one. I just don't know. I guess it's not like it's number one by a wide margin. I don't know why personal loan would be all that much worse than credit card debt, which was number two, or these next couple things, which I think might actually even be worse, and that is lack of financial literacy or irresponsible spending.
Yeah, I mean,
Now-
that kind of all goes with it.
Irresponsible spending, I guess that's something you could kind of, as you grow up, you can grow out of it. But if you just don't even know how to manage money whatsoever, that feels like that's just going to lead to all these other loans and issues that we're talking about, and they're going to crop up. So that feels like that should be number one.
Well, if you just have such a big amount of debt and you maybe haven't worked on it, it's hard though, because the closer you get with someone and maybe your bills start to merge or someone's paying for one thing and the other, that's a real hard debt to then both get to work on. So I think if you have a larger debt, you got to start working on that ahead of time. And then at least when you're with someone, they know that you have been actively working
You've been
on it.
trying,
You've
you
been
know?
trying, yeah.
I think that it's
They're
also
not
important.
just waiting for you.
Yeah, you want to pay off these student loans that I have? That'd be great.
I think it's important to point out too that this is a survey of people who I think are already married.
Oh, sure.
So this is what you're saying after you've already partnered up with somebody and you've been able to, like, they do point out that most people don't, even when they're dating, don't talk much about money until after they're already married, once the finances merge. But when you're actually out there in the dating world, when you're still single, I feel like you have a lot more, most people, a lot more forgiveness, or you just don't care as much about how the other person uses their money because Like it just has. Again, it hasn't come up yet. You haven't partnered up the finances. It's something you don't think about much until.
Well, I'm not saying that's first date topic.
Oh,
so
it is.
You
Yeah.
gotta get
For
into
sure
that
it is.
earlier than later. Cause
I'm like, how much credit card debt we talking? And then they say something ridiculous, and I'm like, nice.
can I run a credit check? Would
Yeah.
that be weird?
I'd just like to know how much you're really running up over there.
But then if they're smart, they'll go, no, if you run a credit check, that'll affect my credit.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
and then you know that's a keeper right there.
That's right. They're so
Yeah.
fiscally responsible.
That's
Which
what
is the new hotness.
That
all right?
is what a turn on.
You're like, I think I really like you. You're so responsible. Oh, it's different times, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I get you going after you get married. I
Yep,
guess
that's it.
The fiscal responsibility.
The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on Radio U.
Let's talk about Valentine's Day. I got a question for you. For Valentine's Day, I think one of the a date idea that is not well represented, but people do, is go to do Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, sure.
That's a date thing, right?
Have you ever done Build-A-Bear for a date?
Never built a bear.
Never
built a
You
bear?
don't want to. Like, it's expensive.
Yeah,
it
it seems
is.
a little bit much for
And
me.
then if you don't stay together, who gets the bear?
Yeah.
Who gets custody of
How
the
am I going to
bear?
get that $150 back for that stuffed
that's
bear?
Right.
Especially if you're dating a girl who likes accessories. Because, man, it's going to be
Then
so
we're dressing the
much
bear.
They're
money.
going to upcharge you for the accessories.
You
I was just
name
thinking
the
because
bear.
obviously Build-A-Bears are typically for children, but then it can be a date idea. But how old is too old to do a Build-A-Bear date?
I've done it a couple of times, but
Recently or?
no, it's been a while.
okay.
And I also don't care to keep any of the Build-A-Bears.
Fair. Not
at this
so
point.
I feel like I don't know who they're targeting with this one.
I think it's. I think that this came out in time for Valentine's Day for a purpose, and that is so the new Build-A-Bear you can do. They've done a tie-in with Ted Lasso.
I also feel it's a tiny bit too late, even though Ted Lasso is still very
It's still
popular.
going, yeah.
But it had its bigger time.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's a new Ted Lasso. I mean, I'm sure they're going to make more, but I don't know. It's not like there's a new season on the horizon here shortly. But nevertheless, Build-A-Bear now offers a Ted Lasso Build-A-Bear that you can go ahead and do.
He's wearing his training attire.
Little
See,
mustache on him.
That's the
He's
accessories I'm warning you
the
about.
classic mustache. You got to pay extra for that mustache.
Yeah, but it's not free.
So obviously, this isn't targeted at children. Children aren't the target of Ted Lasso. So this is meant for adults trying to get them in the door on
a date.
Valentine's Day or for a date. So is it 30?
For
30.
what? 30 for what?
For
You out
how
of your
old
mind?
is too old to do a
I
Build-A-Bear
thought you meant
date?
like, is the price for the bear
No.
30? I was like, oh my God.
No, actually, I do have the price here. If
What's
you're
the price? Give me
curious.
the price.
You're low.
Depending on how many accessories you opt for, it will range from $44 to $63.
And then it's extra, like you can add a scent so the bear smells. You can add a little voice thing, all this other stuff.
Ted Lasso's voice.
And you would think, like, the people that are buying these, yet again, this should be, I know the Ted Lasso thing, whatever. It should be for children, you know? And this is expensive. Like, $50 for who should be buying this is an expensive gift.
It is a lot, but this is definitely for this is I don't know.
Do you want to go? Is that what you're
No, I've never
are you
watched
just-
Ted Lasso.
Do you want me to tell you if you're
do wanna-
allowed? Is that what
do
you're
wanna go
saying?
build
You
a
want
bear?
permission?
I don't want to, but I'm just saying how
Have you built a bear?
if you walked by Build-A-Bear
13.
13.
That's
And
the
you
maximum
saw-
age.
No, it's not.
I
People
think
Yes,
do
it is.
Build-A-Bear dates. It's
They're
a normal
going
When?
thing.
How old?
They're going after like 30 or
Old
40
enough-
years
yeah,
old.
old enough to watch
but
Ted Lasso.
we're not talking about the outliers here. I'm not, yet again, we're not talking about the 30,
They
40-year-olds.
wouldn't do this if there wasn't
Do you
a
wanna-
large portion of adults that would go build
Text
this.
in. You know what? And you can text in and say that you do this. I'm just going to say that doesn't make it okay. All right?
Fair
You can text
enough.
in and say,
Now,
I go and do it.
You know what you're doing though is you're being mean and you're reckoning some guy's Valentine's
I know,
plans
yes.
because
That's
he was
fine.
already
He was
planning
so
it.
You know what, brother?
excited.
I'm not being mean. I'm saving you. I'm saving you right now. Don't take her to build
But Isaiah, Janet, we love watching Ted Lasso.
Oh, I bet
And
you do.
Me and Janet, and we are
And
go, and we're going to have a great time building a bear. I don't care if we are 43 years old,
listen,
both of us.
If you're like, this is what's going to happen here. If I ever walk into
Janet.
Hudson's house and I am walking to the bathroom past his bedroom and I see a Build-A-Bear on the bed that you guys made together or whatever, I'm leaving the house. I'm going to say, why do you have a teddy bear on your bed?
Well,
this
Bailey
is too odd.
texted in and said the new Ted Lasso season comes out in 2 months. So
2
they
months.
are pushing
there we
for
go.
that.
Well,
And you know what Bailey didn't say? She didn't say, I'm going to
and I
Build-A-Bear
can't
to
wait
go
to
build
go.
a
Yeah,
bear.
she's clearly a big fan.
Yeah.
So not
Listen,
big enough a fan to go to Build-A-Bear.
If you want to go to Build-A-Bear, you go to Build-A-Bear. You don't
No
listen to
judgment
You
Isaiah.
do whatever
here.
you do whatever you want. Yet again, just don't be surprised. Don't be surprised when I say it's a little weird. If I see you there, I'm going to judge you a little bit.
Do be surprised when you check out and you're like, how much is it all?
Yeah, that's for
Because
sure.
I have gone before and it's, Bailey's.
What Bailey said.
Bailey's a dude.
Oh, Bailey's a guy. I apologize.
Sorry, Bailey.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
Did you know you could get sued for friend zoning someone?
For friend zoning them?
Uh-huh.
How does that work out?
Apparently, at least, it all depends on your local laws, whatever things however things are in your locality. But in Singapore, we have a man that is suing a love interest of his because after they had a long friendship, he wanted it to be something more. She rejected his advances. And so he is now suing this woman for emotional trauma that
Emotional
she
damage.
caused. Yep, emotional trauma that resulted in him having to pay for rehab and therapy programs. And it says he also had a loss in earning capacity and business partnerships.
Oh, because he couldn't handle it because she wouldn't go out with
she
him?
wrecked his life by not wanting to be his girlfriend.
This is weird. I read through a lot of the story. Like, she handled it right. It wasn't like she was mean or dropped him. She just, when he said he thought of her as more than just a friend, she said, well, no, I feel like we're just friends. And that's all she wanted to do. And he didn't accept that.
The story goes they were friends starting in 2016 is when they met and became friends over time. But it was 2020 when finally it became obvious that the guy whose name is, we'll say, Mr. Koshigan, he was basically saying, all right, now it's time. We've been friends for a while, but I want more. And
What a creepo. That is not the way to do it.
I hope that's not how it sounded.
he considered her to be his closest friend, and he wanted to be more than friends. But she asked that basically that they have boundaries. She wanted to still be friends, but because she didn't want to be more than friends, she also wanted to reduce how much they were hanging out. Because I guess they were hanging out a lot. But that's when he started that. At that point, 3 years ago, is when he started threatening to sue her. At that point, before they, she says, well, let's still be friends, but not hang out as much. And he says, all right, I want to sue you for emotional trauma.
This feels like when you don't say no and you're supposed to, but you're too nice.
Yeah.
And so I feel like she wanted to say no, but she said that the threat of the lawsuit scared her.
Yeah.
She went to his therapy sessions for like a year and a half.
A year and a half.
That is
Who
wild.
goes to, you're going to couples therapy and you're not a couple.
Yeah,
Like, why
that's
is he
right.
taking it so tough? Like, I don't understand. If you,
She was afraid.
Yeah, like, I get it, like, on her side, I
Well,
guess.
they were also friends, so she's trying to be supportive, right?
Yeah, but this seems like it was this was going to happen for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, in 2016, it wasn't like, oh, yeah, I really hope that we just stay friends forever. In 2016, he was like, oh, I for sure, want to move my relationship with this girl further. When he first met her, there's no way that after 4 years, he's like, actually, all of a sudden, maybe I want to be more than friends. This was for sure a long
That's
plan.
movies. That's what happens in movies, not real life.
And there's no way that he, in 2016, didn't know that he was wanted to be more than just friends with this girl.
Well,
and then he did it late.
He seems like he's just missing some some things here. So then after the therapy wasn't working, she stopped going, which then made him even more mad. So he started harassing her. So she started harassment proceedings against him last year. So this has gone on for years and years and years. And now she has ceased communication with him because she can't deal with it anymore.
I wonder, do you think there could be a side to this of he's suing her less because of the emotional trauma? I mean, he's come up with reasons to sue her. He's figured something out, but it's more of, well, then she can't cut off communication because she's got to come to court. Don't you think that's what it is?
Once she stopped going to therapy and whatnot, like he was still, even when she was going to therapy with him, he was for sure still holding out hope. I'm 100%.
So it's coming for a pretrial hearing on February 9th. The Singapore judge threw out his case originally, but then there was a high court case where he's asking for $2.3 million, and that's what starts February 9th.
Wow. Well, now you know, guys, if you want a girl to be anything more than friends with you, you can never start out in the friend zone. You can't do it. There's no transition from friend to boyfriend, girlfriend.
Well, not like this.
This isn't the way to do it.
Hold up. He might not get to have her as a girlfriend, but he might get $2.3 million. So
you know what?
He's slow played it, and it might work out for him, actually.
You're right,
it might work in the long run.
That's the long run.
And then I bet you if he has $2.3 million, somehow he'll find a gal.
Oh,
something tells me.
This feels awful. I feel bad for her.
Me too.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
You guys, we don't like talking on the phone, do we?
No, we do not.
I do.
You do? Oh, well.
That's right, you do, don't you?
I love it.
Do you think the person you're talking to loves that you call them?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good way to look at it.
Maybe you're causing them anxiety.
I'm pretty good on the phone. I feel like I'm pretty entertaining. I'm a fun person to talk to.
Now, this is not, though, usually you're talking to a friend or family member. It is, do you like talking on the phone for, like, work or setting up appointments, stuff like that?
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. I mean, considering I'm the one who answers the phone here, I feel like I have to like it a little bit.
Yeah, that's why we hired you, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
to pick
you're
up
the only
phone.
person we could find that likes answering the phone.
Radio U.
Oh, very nice.
Well, I think for most people now, talking on the phone has become so outdated. And for some reason, I don't even know what it is, but it just feels like it makes you anxious, right? But I have some research here from, I forget where it's from. But
Verizon. No,
yeah, that's right. It probably is. Research here that suggests that if we made more meaningful phone calls, if we started chatting over the phone with friends and family, that would actually be beneficial to us and it would help us feel less lonely. Which who doesn't want to feel less lonely, especially around this time of year?
I feel like it's too late for us. You know,
you
like
think?
if you've
we're just destined to be lonely.
You can still turn it around.
No, not be lonely, but we're just trained ourselves so much to
True.
never want to talk to family or friends or anyone on the phone that, you know, I always feel really bad when I tell them, I'm like, I just prefer if you just text me.
Yeah.
Like, we can talk as much as you want that way.
Nikki, it's never too late.
Never too late.
Nikki's like, just email me.
Please.
Yeah.
Preferably. Don't like call me, text me.
Well, we also talk a lot every morning.
True.
And sometimes I find that, you know, if you have a friend who just wants to, that's you, spend time talking with someone.
Love it.
But then you're like, well, I've already talked out. I don't want to.
Yeah. Like also like even like calling for like checking on something at like a store, things like that. I'm for sure calling or ordering things. A lot of people like use the apps and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm still like going to call to order the pizza for sure.
Why?
I'm not doing it on the app because I feel like
You can use the pizza robot.
if I hear the other person on the line, it feels like it's more likely to get done
Dang.
right.
You know, you sound like my mom right now.
Is that what she would say? If I can hear, there's someone's accountable then, you know?
I don't know if she does call. I witnessed her call in a pizza order a while ago, but I know from growing up, this is always something my mom hated, is that she hated at drive-thrus that you had to talk into the speaker.
that
Instead
can
of
be a real
being able to just
thing.
drive up to the window and talk to a person face to
face.
face. So you're with that.
I'm with that too, yeah, because I want to see who's accountable. A lot of times I'm doing something like this. I want to see who's accountable that heard my voice.
I want to know who's to blame.
That way, when they mess it up, I can be like, you know what's odd enough? When I was talking to Johnny on the phone, he told me that I would be able to get the pepperonis well done.
Well, Okay, those phone calls aside, I think this study is more still about like you can improve your mental well-being if you try it every so often. Yeah, no. If you try it every so often, I guess, to make a phone call, they say it's more of a meaningful connection. And then that helps you if you deal with negative emotions, thoughts, or feelings. Like if you're super upset that you're lonely and you're like, I don't have anybody, but you do, we just don't ever connect with them.
Yeah, I mean, it is true because a longstanding issue is people like through text or like I also consider like the comments or messaging online is you say stuff you wouldn't normally say, or the stuff that you say on there can be taken in different ways. But if you actually go ahead and instead of texting somebody, go ahead and call them, then stuff can't be misinterpreted. And it just feels like it's a little more emotional.
Sure.
Like everybody's on the same page with it too.
So do you guys ever call like Eric or like Angela or anything on the phone, like when you're driving?
No.
No, never.
Well, that's just ridiculous.
Well, I see them in person all the time.
It seems like if I was driving home from work, I love driving home from work and just calling somebody.
And just checking in.
Just
Do you
making
still
a phone call.
your mom every morning when you drive into work?
No, my mom calls me every morning when I drive into work.
She's checking on you.
But yeah, I talk to you every morning on the phone.
It's just something to think about, and maybe that would be some good practice. You could always call here, guys, and if you want to practice.
And then I'm going to be the one to pick up.
Isaiah will be happy to talk to you if you ever need anything.
He'll be a listening ear for you.
And we can order your pizza for you.
A shoulder to cry on.
You just heard the worst of the worst. We'd give you the best of the best, but we'd have to find that. As soon as we do, you'll be the first to know.